The Match Ball.
Hello, welcome to the Match Ball. It's Dan, Rob and Moscow with you for the post-Spurs analysis. It's over. Michael's not here today, is he? Because he has apparently injured his back.
He is one bad back bastard.
The lucky bugger.
So he claims.
I think he'll be annoyed to have missed that because I think he would rather have been there
To vent
moaning.
his feelings.
Yeah, I think he would have strangely enjoyed it. But somebody's got to talk about Levi's solicitors, haven't they? I don't know how we do that without him.
I was just going to say, yeah, Will's Probate Conveyancing, 15% off Phil Hay Monday Club. Look out for that tomorrow.
I know the words are the same, but it's meaningless without him saying them.
Yes, and 10% discount on your legal fees and everything else. LeviSolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. I normally do that bit.
No, the whole thing just sounds like if I try to get some business from Levi's, like they're going to charge me, like they'll steal my house or something. And I think knock it on the head until he's back.
Right. Final match ball of the season. Final match ball in the Premier League for Anon, shall we say. We've gone down and with a pathetic whimper in the end. But I think we kind of saw it coming from a week or two out, didn't we? Special props to the club who have just put out some devastated photos of the players. And when you
on Instagram,
when you press the photo, you can buy the home shirt for this year, so you can remember it.
The Instagram shop function means that they've tagged the 22-23 adult home jersey. It appears to come with Rodrigo's tears as a special free bonus this time around.
Well, time to take our medicine then, gentlemen, because that was pitiful, wasn't it?
Well, maybe time to buy a shirt that might be cheap.
Are you glad that Spurs scored early? Because it took basically all the heat out of it, didn't it? Really, I think we all knew which way that one was going to go when that happened.
It was quite nice that Spurs scoring after 90 seconds meant we could spend the first 10 minutes singing about just former heroes. There was Marcelo Bielsa, there was Berardi, Matthias Klick, Pablo Hernandez, Samu Saïd, which I really liked that one.
Has anyone got a spare pen, by the way? I just need to make some furious notes.
I'm
Thanks.
not taking any notes. Luciano Becchio, which was good. Pontus Jansson, which was surprising.
Yeah.
And then I think we had like the usual.
Samuel Saïd, yes.
Yeah, it's lovely, wasn't it? I think there was Beckford and Matteo. But yeah, we really committed to getting relegated over these last few months, haven't we?
Yeah.
And that was the real, to top it all off, not even a sense of, oh, you never know, chances against us, but we might give it a real good go. Nah, let's not bother.
Then at least we saw Jorginho Ruta. That was nice.
He was pretty good. But I didn't like going behind in the first 90 seconds because I'd been trying to maintain...
Wait, are you talking about the first half or the second half here?
Both.
Sorry, go on, Moscow.
But the first half in particular, I've been trying to maintain just the idea that, it's the last day, Premier League, craziness, anything at all can happen. I think the one thing that I hadn't really considered as a possibility of anything at all can happen is that we just give up in the first 2 minutes.
Did we give up or were we just fucking shit?
Well, once we were 1-0 down, we weren't staying up, were we? So it was kind of, there was a lot of, there are some players who I felt, so this is jumping to the end of the game.
Spoiler alert, everyone.
It got sad before he went off injured. Watching Harrison getting the ball again and again and trying to beat 6 players on his own because it seemed to be the only way that we were going to do anything. But at that point, Leicester were winning 2-0 at that point. I think it ended 2-1. Everton were winning 1-0. And I felt like, I know one idiot ran on. I felt like running on there and just going, Jack, just don't.
You've tried. And
yeah, it's like, this isn't doing anybody any good because, and he scored a really good goal, but then we immediately conceded. But it was all pointless from the first goal. And the other thing about it, like just for a bit of what could have been, Spurs weren't good. The first half, when we were attacking, their defending was shocking. They were pinballing it around, but they were already 1-0 up.
The problem with this is you don't need to be good to beat us this season.
Yeah.
You just need to wait.
That was...
don't you, really?
Oh, well, not even wait.
Yeah.
90 seconds is all
well,
they
they waited a minute and a half.
That was kind of
until we gave the ball away.
The frightening thing about their first 2 goals, 90 seconds into either half, is that you could sort of see them coming, and it was like, oh yeah, they've beaten a man, and then they've got a player in loads of space.
Yeah.
I think it was
look, there's a man just stood there waiting for the ball to be passed. Oh, it's Harry Kane. I wonder how this is going to end.
I think it was the second one that the pass, we even sort of got a touch to it, but it was still like, nah, he's still in loads of space that he can just, has loads of time to just put the ball in the bottom corner.
Oh, look, there's Harry Kane running through again.
And then the third one where Liam Cooper just did the weird header and shouted at everyone else. You thought, he shouldn't be doing that. That's a bad idea.
The fourth?
I mean, that was really hilarious how there was like a section of the crowd singing "We All Love Leeds." There was a section of the crowd booing, and then Tottenham just walked through and scored, and that it just meant, all right, we're just letting everyone get furious now.
How much of their celebrations did you see?
I saw Lucas getting cheered a lot. Yeah, that was.
I was right above the Spurs fans, so that's like right underneath me. And when I saw them lifting up, and there was a point where, because the referee kept going, like, knock this on the head, get on with the game. But it looked to me like the Spurs players were going like, no, you get involved. We'll cheer you up as well if you want. We're having a party over here.
I did wonder if the South Stand was going to spill over at that point. It was teetering. That corner, wasn't it?
I think there's a few people trying. Yeah. Fair play to the guy that did get on the pitch. He was. He gave a few people the absolute runaround.
It's a big change from going down in 2007 when we managed to stop the game for half an hour with a mass pitch invasion. I suppose we are in more civilised times in some ways.
Yeah, when you're on BT Sport, you've got to behave yourself a bit more, haven't you? Someone's asking why you've got a tennis ball on your shirt. You haven't. It's the acid smiley face. It's not a tennis ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it would be...
Are you going out to listen to some Acid House tonight?
I thought it would either be like joyful as part of staying up, or just, it might brighten some spirits. Can I kick Sam Allardyce?
If you want to, I was going to say, can we rewind and talk about the formation and playing 6 defenders? Is that part of it?
Yeah.
Go on then.
So, and it's him, but it's also...
Is that former Leeds boss Sam Allardyce?
I hope so. It's him, but then also the club as a whole. It felt like today was like the last attempt of just going to just leaving things to the very end. The only plan I can assume was we name 6 defenders and we try and stay in the game. And then if there's something there for us in the last 20 minutes, if Everton are losing and Leicester are losing, then we're there and we can go for it. But that's
because he didn't want us to concede the first goal, did he? He wanted to win 1-0, basically.
Yeah.
And then it was over within 90 seconds.
But it's been this
story of my life,
from where we had last summer and then January, and then just this narrowing of our options all the way, of just removing the things that we could possibly do, dwindle until the last hope is to try and just hope that it's still there in the last 20 minutes rather than being the protagonists of what we could do. And then also, I wonder, like with those early concessions and stuff, whether suddenly switching to 5-3-2, which I don't think we've ever played before, with Weston McKennie playing up front, contributed to the players' like general just lack of confidence, ability, nous, whatever, to just no longer knowing what they were doing anymore because nobody knew where anybody was.
I was thinking that midway through the first half, like how many times in the last 2 months, or at least over the second half of the season, have we played combinations of players that have never played together before? So today you've got a back three of Christensen, Verber, Cooper. Fairly certain they've never played before together. McKennie and Rodrigo up front together. Don't think that's happened before. Harrison, Forshaw, Koch in midfield. Don't think that's happened before. And it seems like we've just done that for like the last 2 months.
And you could see some of the stuff that was going on in the first half was just so bad. It was almost funny, like missed passes and players just not knowing where each other was. And
the chant went up. That's why we're going down.
Yeah.
And that was related to a misplaced Rodrigo
that
one
was,
at that point.
Harrison took a short corner and Rodrigo just fell over. And there was another one where Christensen did like a real calamity, missed control and pass. And then we got it back and he gave it to Robin Koch, who just forgot the ball. And it was like, right, okay. I think I made a note midway through the first half that even Jack Harrison did a bad first touch. And I was like, just relegators. That was the note I made.
Well, we've achieved the impossible and we've gone down. We've followed the Leicester model. They're joining us.
Yeah. They won the league, though, while they were up here and played in Europe a bit and didn't win the FA Cup as well.
Well,
so they were good for longer than...
Well, us, Leicester, Southampton in the same division. It'll be like the League One banter years, won't
Big
it?
reunion.
Yeah.
Big reunion.
I was going to say we followed the Southampton model of Red Bull and signed a load of players without any Premier League experience as well. We've really followed the best of the Premier League.
Yeah.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for your feedback on my, apparently I say etc. far too much and I need to cut it out. So I can only apologise and say sorry, etc.
Something to work on for next season.
Because it's dead easy just sitting here and talking for half an hour without a script, live stream.
No,
give it a go, Kevin. I'll watch you, okay?
Let's really burn everything down. Come on.
I want to talk to you. Bring it on.
I like Kevin. I think Kevin's
what else do I do wrong?
Tell him, Kevin.
Yeah, do.
Don't hold back.
Oh, dear. Whatever. Crowd reaction. Let's talk about
that. Well, yeah, they just let us get on with it, didn't they, by conceding after 90 seconds. I think it was, we had the ball from the kickoff. Weston McKennie gave away a simple pass. I don't think we touched it again and Spurs scored. And yeah, I mean, it was weird. It was, I was in the East End today, sort of on halfway, so I kind of got a stereo sound of vitriol from the South Stand and the Kop, so you get to hear both different chants from either side. But I don't know how angry it was, or whether because it was just so limp and pathetic, it was kind of like, let's just sing about some people we like. There was a bit of anger, there was a lot of Bielsa, a lot of you're not fit to wear the shirt, which was fair enough.
That really ramped up towards the end, didn't it?
It was after that fourth goal, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was because there was some sort of, should we be a little bit positive and try and applaud him? Like, nope. No, let's get stuck into him.
Even there was even a point at which "We All Love Leeds" was sung by one end of the ground. I think the other end of the ground started booing it. We completely descended into anarchy at that point.
I was above the Spurs fans, and they were very vocal from the beginning that they want Daniel Levy out. So that's them. They'd like their boards.
Unified handshake emoji, sack the board and all
they
that.
would like their boards sacked, but it's because of the acoustics on the gantry. Ring it.
I don't even know where the bell is.
It's lit.
Oh, there it
Come
is.
on, Kev's going to have you on toast for
I
that.
know. So for long people who like the shite memes that we've rolled out on this show, here's the gantry gong.
It's a good meme. We've done nothing wrong.
It's
apart
a
from you
bell.
saying
It's not even a fucking gong. It's a bell.
So it was hard to judge whose calls for the board to be sacked were louder. But I think the early goal in both halves, I think, took a lot of the wind out of the sails. I stayed to the end and saw old Stuart Dallas got a very big send off.
Yeah.
That was good because he has done nothing wrong this season apart from sort of appear in the background of photos as the players are going down the tunnel looking sad, which is, I don't know what more he could do.
We've been weighing up who to award Player of the Year to, because obviously we've been running that all year.
Dan James still.
Dan James is second. He can't obviously win it because he can't score anymore to get himself above Tyler Adams. So Tyler Adams could have it, or we could just give it to Stuart Dallas.
Yeah, I'll bet that.
That sounds good.
And then Harrison was the last one off. He was dealing with people in the south. He was giving his shirt to people in the South Stand, and they also seem to be. I wonder if that might be him off, because he was making sure he was last one off. And then that was about it, really. Everybody else, Allardyce just wandered off, tootled about a bit. I think Robbie Keane gave a couple of waves to the Spurs fans during the game.
Oh, I've forgotten about that link. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Boyd
Certainly there was plenty of Keno. I did notice him as he was going off at half time, kind of like that. So that was nice for them.
His boyhood club, of course.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. At least somebody had a nice time, saw somebody who liked him. And don't know. It was the thing about the game is I remember feeling like it's got to be over soon. And then I looked at the clock and we'd only played 20 minutes. It was a really, because we were so bad and the result was in no doubt from the first minute. It just got such a drag. And I feel like, this is probably why it's quite low energy right now. It's not just relegation, but I feel like that game lasted for about 4 hours.
Yeah. Especially because there was nothing in it. There was no jeopardy anymore, was there?
No. And that was it. When you were watching them, so the sub, and okay, we'll go back to Allardyce in a minute. When the subs happened and we did get a bit of energy, it was all too late. And that's why I just wanted to tell them, give it up.
It says a lot, doesn't it, that when McKennie, and he knew he was being brought off to McKennie and he made the move of getting to the bench before he was booed off the pitch, that he did get booed off the pitch. And then Ruta was brought on and given essentially a hero's welcome, like a returning son.
He did all right.
Just because that was the kind of anarchy that was, it was just suffusing everything at that point, wasn't it? That sense of annoyance. Jim is asking in the comments on YouTube. Thank you for being with us, by the way. If you're on the YouTube,
Even you, Kev.
Kevin's just apologised and he's done a crying, laughing emoji. I'm only playing, Kev, but I did mean it as well. Jim is asking in the comments, am I sad? I'm not sad. I'm just glad it's over now. I've been fed up all season. I've been stressed all season. I've just wanted it over now for quite some time, and it got to the point where, like, do you know what? Whichever way this goes, just make it end now.
Yeah, it was strange. It's the first time I've seen Leeds relegated live in the flesh, and considering I'd really resigned myself to it and talked myself into thinking, do you know what? Maybe it's the best option. It was still very numbing an experience, but I think that is just from the conceding after 90 seconds, because even there was no reaction really to them scoring after 90 seconds. It was like, that's about right.
That's happened. That's happened again then, has it?
That's kind of how we do things. Likewise at the start of the second half.
I think to put it into, you've been through 3, I've been through 3. The League One, the relegation to League One.
Technically, I went through the 1982 one.
So did I, actually, but I wasn't a Leeds fan at that point. I was.
I think my parents started bringing me probably the season after, but yeah, I was alive through it, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, 82, 2004, 2007.
Yeah. So
and now this one.
2007 was the worst because that was when there was the full pitch invasion, and the thing I vividly remember from that game is I was near the Northwest Tunnel where the police bit is, and so when they were taking people off the pitch, stewards and police were taking Leeds fans off, and Leeds fans were coming out like cops, kick people up the arse and punch them for being on the pitch. And I just remember thinking, like, this is not good. And then we had Ken Bates and Dennis Wise, and the whole thing was just miserable. And it took me, and then I didn't know if we were getting relegated because I didn't have like the mobile technology is not what it was not what it is today. So I didn't know what the other scores were.
I'm sick of all that reception I get in Ellen Road.
And then Alan Clark and Gary Kelly and Paul Reaney came out with Gary Kelly to give Gary Kelly a long service award. And I remember standing there going, I have no idea if we've been relegated. What the fuck is going on? Why are we giving Gary Kelly like a silver platter if we've been relegated? Very strange atmosphere. And then it took me an hour to get home because of the bus. 2004, though, obviously we were relegated away at Bolton and it was all the crying. But then we had the game against Charlton and we had a very jolly pitch invasion. We had a party on the pitch, everybody cheering off Alan Smith the way that Lucas Moura was cheered off. And I remember me and my mates, Andy and John, going in the dugouts and doing pretend substitutions as if we were players and managers. And so that was good. So it was all quite jolly.
Did you boo yourself off like you were Weston McKennie?
Well, there was none of that when we went down for the Premier League. It was kind of like there was a weird sort of wanting to give them a good send-off, which, I don't know, maybe it's just like I was drunk and I'm dimly remembering what it was like. So at the end today, after all the players had gone off, after Harrison had finally gone down the tunnel, I was looking around and I was sitting next to KG, who does his YouTube channel, which is very good, and he's a very nice man.
Michael's appearing on that this week, isn't he?
Yeah, apparently he's fitting up for that.
Yeah, Judas.
Bad back's going to be cured by Tuesday. And I said to him, I'm waiting for something to happen because I don't know what we do now.
I did that. That's why the match ball, we didn't start it till relatively late. I kind of stood in the stadium just waiting for something to happen. There were loads of people just like milling around.
Yeah.
I think like something's got to.
Are they going to come back?
What happens? Are they going to come out again? Yeah.
Are they going to drag Angus Kinnear out by his lug-hole?
He showed up, didn't he, today? No sign of Rajazani.
He's probably still drunk from Luton.
Yeah, but I mean, he showed up.
Interesting thing about that happening this weekend, which may as well mention as an aside, is that Angus Kinnear, when he used to write his programme notes and he used to have opinions on things that were going on in the Premier League.
Do you remember those?
Yeah, those heady days where he was talking about how, because it was all the fan-led government review that he was angry about and saying that all the conclusions of that, and it's like, we can't possibly have these fan-led ideas leading to changes in governance in football. Premier League executives know what they're doing and they don't need the input from a fan-led government review. And the club that he runs is in the Premier League, and the club that is owned by football supporters, its own fans, have just gone into the Premier League and in our place. So I wonder if that's maybe giving Angus some thought, or whether the fact that he's already put a sock in his stupid mouth.
I presume he's going to suggest we give back those parachute payments.
Yeah, because
we'll only waste them.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Championship.
Mind you, we've got things to pay for now.
Well, we're going to sign Pavel Chubitsky back, aren't we? According to Angus, it gets wasted on players like Pavel Chubitsky.
Finally, we're here for the comments are rolling through now from the post-match presser, which we'll get to in a minute or two. But a question from Tom, who's asking what the feeling was like inside the stadium after the whistle. As we were sort of saying a little bit earlier on the stream, it felt to me like it gradually, it was the venom was sort of ramped up a little bit towards the end. There were certain lulls in it when people didn't know what to do. There were some amusing songs that we won't repeat here for fear of committing libel actions. And then as it became more and more inevitable towards the end, it was, not poisonous, but all that sort of the twisty stuff, the anger started pouring out, and there was a resounding boo at the final whistle.
You're not fit to wear the shirt after the fourth goal. The players really looked shell-shocked at that point. Even when they took the kick-off, it sort of got passed back to Luke Hayden, and he looked surprised to have got it. It's like, oh, yeah, we've actually got to play the rest of this game.
Did you see Reuter's face as people were singing that?
No.
He pulled his shirt up over his face, like hiding.
I was watching McKennie after he got booed off, and he was
head in hands, wasn't he?
Similar, just had his face in his shirt.
Melier went and looked after Rutter after the final whistle. He had his arm around
and
him.
then
Brer.
Mon bébé.
Yeah, Petit Brer.
But yeah, once they started walking around the pitch, it was a bit of a mix of
It was weird,
certain players getting applauded, certain players getting booed.
McKennie hanging out with Ayling so that he couldn't get booed.
I didn't actually see McKennie. I noticed Rodrigo just stood as well.
McKennie sat on the bench until nearly everyone had finished, and then came out. And he, because what you could tell who was prepared to sort of front it out, because they were further out from the centre circle. They were close to the touchline. Like Stuart Dallas was the one who was nearly on the touchline. The rest of them kind of just, there was a small circle around.
Forshaw was straight over. He was in absolute bits, bless him. He was just sobbing as he walked around. He was the first one, and he did get quite a good reception. But you got different noises from different parts of the ground, didn't you? Because like Forshaw was there getting applauded, whereas the rest of them were being booed from that end. And then as Forshaw got around there, he was getting applauded. And they were getting booed at that end. Sometimes it was unclear who was shouting "fuck off" at who. And it was a bit like, oh, well, he's applauding him, but then he's shouting "fuck off" at, is it Bamford or Cooper? Yeah, it was all very confusing anger.
It's worth mentioning on that, and we can refer to the recent words of Uruguay manager Marcelo Bielsa, who was talking about how football is about the players and the fans, and the people who get in the way are the coaches and the journalists and the executives. This is probably a very good example of that, because Ayling, Forshaw, Harrison, Cooper, Dallas, because of what we went through with them coming up, and even before that with players like, I mean, Cooper was here. Cooper signed the Dave Hockaday was Liam Cooper's first manager, so he's put a shift in, and he like affection grows over those times, and then they achieved something fairly incredible, which we did wait a long time for that to happen, and we'll always, I think, once the anger fades, we'll always have that. So part of today is looking at players like Ayling. And Ayling, I think he was the last player that, as the ball went in from Maura's goal, he looked as if he couldn't believe he was that shit. Like he just couldn't process from what has happened previously to this now happening. So there's kind of that feeling of, yes, you're angry at what has happened and the way we've gone down, but you don't want to completely ruin what was good, because, I mean, the previous relegation from the Premier League is a good example where Mark Viduka was sent off in his last two appearances, and that was a big part in us going down as him. But he is now, like, his signed shorts are in this room, and we revere them like a religious relic.
They're massive, by the way.
Yeah,
those shorts. Because
he's still Mark Viduka, and we had a great time watching him score loads of goals, and then the fact that he was really, like, you think Bamford was a villain during this run-in, Viduka during the run-in from the getting relegated from the Premier League last time, much worse, I would argue. But when it goes away for a while, it becomes more of a story where you are like, they did this that was good, and then they did this that was bad, and you don't have to decide. Ultimately, you don't have to decide whether, because they're not your mates. You don't have to be like, am I ever going to speak to Luke Ayling again?
But they feel like it.
Yeah, they do. But so he becomes, in the end, I guess it is more like a mate, because it's somebody who's done something good and he's done something bad, and then you decide whether you still want to, whether the good outweighs the bad in the longer term.
But
today, it's very difficult.
They're a symptom of the problem, though, which was the never building on them and never moving on from them.
Which is where the comment from Bielsa the other week, that it's the fans and the players, that relationship is spoilt by the behaviour of directors. He was talking about club owners, coaches,
journalists, can't stand them
as well.
Tell Phil Hay that.
Getting in the way, and that is the story, because the players who were having their names sung today, Berardi's name is still sung many because he's not here. He got out of it and Pablo as well. It's not that they ran away; they retired. They didn't retire. They got too old to play in the Premier League for Leeds. They went to other clubs, so they're not part of this now. Players like Luke Ayling, if Rasmus Christensen had been a better right back than him, or if Cody Drammer had played, it wouldn't be a problem, and we wouldn't have all this with Luke Ayling now. So who made the decision to defend our Premier League status with Luke Ayling and or Rasmus Christensen as our options at right back? They didn't pick themselves, did they, in the end? So there's bigger problems than Luke Ayling's inability to defend against some of the paciest, trickiest.
Oh, I think we might have a club statement, by the way.
Oh, God.
This should be a hoot. Should we go to that first, or Allardyce's comments?
Is it cheaper home shirts or something? £5 away shirts?
Details of, we said about a 10% refund, but we've realised that we can't afford it. Club statement, let's see if the website actually works and doesn't fall over. Oh, straight on. Everyone connected with Leeds United is deeply disappointed by the club's relegation back to the Sky Bet Championship after 3 seasons in the Premier League. Relegation is painful, and we apologise to our fan base that the performances this season have not seen the club consolidate our status as we had all hoped. However, Leeds United remains in a strong position to build a team that can challenge for promotion from the Championship next season. We know things have not been good enough. We know we have to improve, but please be assured that behind the scenes, we have worked hard to ensure that the past will not be repeated. Our focus is now on how we get straight back to the Premier League. Thank you for your unwavering support for the players and the badge. Our objective is to continue to build the club into the one you deserve. Hard to argue with any of that. Hollow as shit.
I have a big problem with that statement. There isn't a name on it.
I was going to say, who is the one that's working hard and who is the one planning to not repeat
It's a club
mistakes?
statement. It's the whole club. Everyone's got together, pumped some fucking money into Chat GPT and...
The problem is they're an absolute shower from top to bottom, so I
And
don't
the
really
problem-
trust those people.
Like, where does Sampdoria fit in?
they weren't mentioned.
And is this like who? Put a name on it, for God's sake.
We need to do a word count on it. I think 56% of the words were written by Andrea Radrizzani and 44 were written by San Francisco 49ers.
Did Pete Lowry get a word? Does anybody, has LL Cool J contributed anything to this?
The lyrics of Phenomenon just posted on the club website. Oh, dear me.
That's not good enough.
Well, the thing is, nothing was going to be good enough under the circumstances.
No,
that's the other side.
what they
to
could have
this.
done is a name. Who has written that? There's nobody. There's only Angus Kinnear left, and if that's the case, say this is a message from Angus Kinnear, CEO, saying everybody connected with the club is doing blah blah blah. Or put it from the owner. Compare it to that. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, Kinnear could have just written that as his programme notes today, and it'd have at least been something from him. But he doesn't do that anymore, does he?
I'm fairly sure, and I don't know if I'll be able to check, but was there a name on it after the Brentford game last year when they were saying basically
It
the
was
same things?
Radrizzani's statement, wasn't it, last time? Yeah, we won't make the same mistake again, etc.
Signed.
I said etc.
Signed.
I said etc.
Andrea Radrizzani.
Did it deliberately.
And it's a big miss to just not have anybody actually owning, because that's what you want, is somebody owning this, and that has not been owned.
No. Where is Andrea Radrizzani? Where is he? That's the question. Should we go to the comments by... sorry, I just got some sort of notification on my phone, I think. I'll silence that. That's a good idea. It might be the official highlights of our game.
How about him, Kev?
Let's have a look. So he's saying, discussing whole infrastructure, quality of the squad is basically, most of it comes down to how good are your players. Well, how good are our players?
Well, it's an interesting... I'm going to ignore that question from him. But it is related. So after Tottenham scored their second, was it the second or the third? The substitutions is basically the question. Carl Robinson spent 2-0 down.
Oh, they took forever, didn't they?
5 minutes later, I was looking at the team and I was just thinking, why don't we just put a forward on? And even at the end of the game, Robin Koch was playing up front. And to me, I think maybe Crescencio Somerville could have done that instead.
What, head the ball?
Just be up front.
It felt like he was punishing last week's subs because he slagged them off after last week. He was like, right, I can't bring them on. So Jorginho, I know I've sort of refused to acknowledge your existence.
He didn't trust or doesn't trust. Didn't. Let's talk past tense about Allardyce.
Fingers crossed.
He didn't trust the young attackers, did he? It was always a case of, was it you made this point or was it Michael? One of the two, maybe. Or was it you, Rob?
If it's a good point, it was me.
I'll claim it was mine.
Fine. About on one of the shows this week saying, or last week, saying he was putting out the most experienced team he could possibly put out.
I think that was me.
Right, yeah. So Rob, you made that point.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on anyway. What you were saying, about the subs and the young players.
So yeah, I mean, he slagged off the subs last week, so it felt like he kind of couldn't bring them on. And then, he just, I mean, even though last week he sort of said Jorginho Rutter didn't exist, it was good today, actually. But it was like he looked at the bench and was like, oh, Will, you were crap last week. Crescencio, don't trust you.
Well, it was 5 minutes at least. So when did the subs come on? It was 58. They scored 46. It was 10 minutes then of Carl Robinson had written something down on a notepad. I was showing it to Allardyce and he was kind of going, don't know. And then showing it to Robbie Keane. He's going over like Scoobs with this, and this. And then going back to Sam and then going like, right, so I'm pointing at something else now. And I was watching you think, this is simple. You've got Wilf Nyonto, Crescencio Somerville, and Jorginho Rutter are warming up. Put them on, because even if they can't save the day, and they shouldn't be put on with the situation of having to save the day, the mood was really starting to turn. And the one thing that would have cheered people up is, well, at least our tricky young, exciting forward players, instead of it being 6 defenders, and we're playing Weston McKennie and Robin Koch up front. Pascal Strout was playing left wing before we'd made these subs for 10 minutes. We've got the wingers were Pascal Strout and Luke Ayling. It's like, just forget about being solid, forget about being
just go
defensive.
for it.
Just go for it.
Yeah.
What have we got to lose from putting some cocky wingers on who's confident? I mean, Pascal Strout, I think, was to blame for both the first 2 goals. He was bad for both. Maybe let's not blame him.
I think the official site's gone down, by the way.
He was bad for both.
like the rest of us, hey? Gone down. Hey? Anyone? Anyone?
I don't see why it took 10 minutes for somebody earning £500,000 to do sod all.
Moscow's Rob has just pointed out in the comments, 1 point, £500,000.
Yeah.
1
Gone
point.
well on it.
I mean, I did have that small idea that he might be able to not get a single point or a single goal and get £3 million for keeping us up. But I suppose Sean Dyche has done it, hasn't he?
He has.
Absolute. So predictable. You wish football could be different sometimes. That just like something else would happen, and that Sean just like appointing Sean Dyche. How dare they have Frank Lampard and Sean Dyche and stay up?
The statement's been replaced by an oops, there is an error page. I think that might be their 404 page on the website.
It says a lot today that I never actually tried to check the other scores because we just went behind straight away. Couldn't even be bothered trying to test the reception in Ellen Road. Like, don't matter, does it?
I had no notifications switched on from the other 2 games. I was like, oh, there we go. Never mind.
Andy
Grumble.
Decore scored a stunner. Imagine a stunning goal from midfield.
I mean, look,
It'll
you
be
look at it this way.
exciting, wouldn't
You think, given the financial peril that Everton are in, and they would have obviously been catastrophic for them had they gone down, but then it's probably still not going to have a great season next season. It's just it's another stringing out of the struggle for them, isn't it?
They'll be fine. They'll just Dyche out until they get the new stadium, and then they'll be all right.
Under these circumstances, you think, okay, if we can't have anything nice, if we've got to be sad, I want other people to be sad.
Yeah.
One little crumb of comfort I take tonight is thinking back to James Maddison shushing the South Stand when Leicester equalised against us.
It's kind of good that they've gone down as well.
Yeah. But, I mean, he'll still get a move. He'll end up somewhere. He'll be paid a fortune. He won't care, whatever, but still, shut up.
Do you know who scored for Leicester?
I
The
don't
first
really
goal.
care. Go on.
Guess.
Who plays for them? Jamie Vardy,
Guess
Harvey
again.
Barnes.
Harvey Barnes, of course, because he didn't actually score against Leeds this time around. So he got his goal in that way.
At half time, I went up onto the concourse, and as I was getting there, I could hear it, ooh, and I thought that we must be waiting for the scores to come up. But then it turned out the collection point for beer was shut, and they were just lifting the shutters, and I was going, ooh, and then once it got to the top, it was like, way, because we'd all given up by that point.
I was going to say the stadium actually looked really, really like quiet at half time, like the number of seats that were empty, and I thought, yeah, everyone's in the concourse. As I was walking up before the game as well, the southeast corner, the cheese wedge, was really rowdy, people banging on fences and singing before the start of the game, and I thought it kind of sets the tone for what's going to happen, which is going to be, there'll be plenty of support, it'll be pretty raucous, but the poison will be bubbling away just underneath the surface.
There was a good Bielsa banner at full time in the Kop. Hail Bielsa, which was nice.
Yeah, and it was unmissable as well. So everybody, maybe that's what set Adam Forshaw off crying.
James,
he's had his notebook out while Sam Allardyce has been in. Getting some good stuff here.
One of the stories that's been running across the season has been my dad leaving. Ironically, my dad stayed a lot longer today. I think he left at about 81, 82, something like that. He tends to watch it downstairs and then he'll just potter off, basically when the whistle goes or thereabouts.
Was that after he got dragged off the pitch?
I think the thing about today, and it'll be with him. Well, I guess I don't want to speak. I'll speak for the way it felt. I think as we knew, like this has been coming for so long. I think that's kind of damp. That's
when even I give up on it, Moscow.
It's kept a lid on the anger, hasn't it? Because there'll be a lot of it on social media because that's very easy to do.
That's what it does. Yeah.
But in the ground, I think because it was an air of resignation coming into the game, it wasn't like you're going for a fight back, and it's kind of the anger. I think it all happened a few weeks ago. I don't know if I could pick out particularly. Bournemouth is probably the one, Gracia's last game, where the away fans were yelling at the players who went over at the end of the match. That felt like, not the moment we got relegated, but that's the moment when everything that everybody was angry about all kind of came together. And then the next move is Sam Allardyce is here. And then, because Victor Orta went after that as well. So there's kind of some of the things that we wanted to happen, like Victor Orta going, Radrizzani messing about in Sampdoria, so he wasn't. So it's very difficult to chant sell the club and fuck off at somebody who is already buying another football club and to all intents and purposes looks like they are selling the club and fuck off. So it's like, it was all a few weeks ago when I think a lot of the like the event stuff probably happened, and since then it's been like just every game repeating the same things, so that now I think we're very tired of being relegated, and we all know the reasons why we got relegated, and tired of repeating them over and over. It's like, so in the end, when it comes away. Yeah, so when it comes down to it, it's just like, well, at least now, I mean, we don't know what the club are going to do because they can't even put a name on a statement, so we don't know who's running the shambles or who owns it or who is going to be the manager or who the head director of football is or which players are going to play or what the hell. But we do know that we get a week less in summer because the season starts a week earlier in the championship, so we've lost a week from our
get it all sorted now, you idiots.
Well, I was just from having no football. Kind of I was quite looking forward to that bit. But yeah, also it's a week less to get the club sorted out. Although I did, I was reading about Luton Coventry yesterday, and that Coventry were bottom of the championship 9 games into the season, and then still got into the playoffs, and then didn't go up. So, you know,
that's one of the chants. I enjoyed that chant today as well. Que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. We're going to Coventry. Que sera, sera. Kevin, Kevin, who was picking on me earlier, is asking, was the pitch as bad as the BT commentators kept saying it was? Looks very green to me.
The pitch?
I mean, that lad who got on it seemed to be quite good on his feet.
I didn't have any problems with the pitch.
No, I didn't know there was.
Spent a fortune on that pitch last summer. Be the best pitch in the championship next season. And we've got the best floodlights in the championship as well now. Look at that.
It was the players on it that was the problem, wasn't it?
Mm. Is that what BT have been going on about, the pitch?
I don't know. Are
they all right?
They employ Michael Owen. I mean,
that was Jake Humphrey's last day, isn't it?
Was he even here?
Oh no,
I think Bob Savage wasn't he?
Send him somewhere else.
Oh dear me.
Yeah, if they couldn't think of anything. I mean, yeah, the pitch. Yes, okay. Let's go with that. Actually, we got relegated because the pitch helped Spurs and was like, oh, the players couldn't. The grass was too long. I mean, they were training on it all week. BT should know this, isn't like.
Is that the problem? They've worn it out.
Maybe.
What? The grass is worn out?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. They have actually been training on it all week, haven't they? Yeah. To get them ready, to get them used to the cauldron atmosphere that Ellen Road was going to be
and
today.
Then 90 seconds.
90 seconds.
Sure. I just burst out laughing.
Yeah, it's... What a way to get relegated. They've really gone for it.
Oh, dear me. Anything else to add then before we head off and 46 match balls plus the cups next year. That's good.
That's 48.
No, I think do you get 2 rounds? Is it a back and forth round, early doors, like first round or second round, whatever? You get a 2-leg title.
I don't know.
That's
right.
exciting, isn't
Let's do it. Reasons to be cheerful next season.
We've probably lost bow top off the front of the shirts.
Yeah, that's good. So
that'll go.
Are we going to be unsponsored, do you think?
Yeah, I hope so. No Premier League anthem, because we hate that, because that's dreadful. They timed it right today, though. We got to the end of marching on together before they played that shit show for the final time. What else is bad about it? VAR. They've got the goal line technology, but I don't think they've got VAR.
Okay.
Have they?
They might bring it. I don't know. They've got to have it at some point. I don't know. It's going to be like midfield.
It'll be Sean Harvey sat in a room at Stockley Park with a fucking iPad. Their version of VAR.
We're going to get. We should almost like bring Jesse Marsh back and he can train the kids up. Charlie Creswell can stay and he can play at centre half. Midfield, Archie Gray, Darko JB. I've got high hopes for Archie Gray in the Championship. I feel like actually, if there is a bright spot, it is like as long as Manchester City don't just straight up sign him, we can go pure Jude Bellingham apart from selling him to Dortmund. Just put Archie Gray. 17, if they were excited about him playing in the Premier League this year until he got injured, he can play in the Championship next year, and he looks like he can actually pass a football, which is a big thing that's been missing from our midfield. And JB's all right as well.
I've got some more hot pitch chat for you. Apparently they were saying that it was dry and it was a deliberate ploy by Allardyce to slow the ball down to stop Spurs breaking quickly.
All right. Yeah, okay, they can discuss that as much as they want.
So thank you to everyone who's mentioned that in the comments.
Thank you as well to Sam Allardyce for his intelligent thinking.
Anything to add then? Before
we were going through the positive stuff. So Joffrey can come back and play up front. Jorginho Rutter, nobody's going to sign him, are they? So, and again, if somebody explains to him how to play, I think he could be quite a good player.
I had a dream last night that we won 3-0 today, and he scored the third goal, and it was a penalty, and he took the penalty because Pat Bamford was lining up to take it, and people threw things on the pitch, so he couldn't. And then Rutter stepped up and scored it.
We might get bigger ticket allocations as well.
Yeah.
Some grounds, that's good.
Away
That's always nice. We'll be filling some grounds for you as well. If you're an opposition fan, nice to be back.
Tuning into Revel.
We can do a series, unlink the series of Match of the Day now, which I never like anyway. Never enjoyed that.
We get to see some old friends like Tony Mowbray.
Don Goodman on co-commentary.
Yes.
Keith Andrews.
They were side by side on the playoff final half time. And it was like the witches were gathering. The pair of them standing next to each other was pretty strong.
The other two horsemen of the apocalypse were elsewhere.
Helder Costa.
He's a champion,
He
isn't
is
he?
a champion. He's officially better than
Your mate
Ronaldo.
Tyler Roberts is back.
Tyler Roberts is going to be back with a year to earn another contract.
I thought you were going to say another hamstring injury.
Probably.
We get to go to Millwall.
likely.
Don't we go to Millwall and have murder mocked, which is always a great laugh.
We'll have some insider info from Charlie and Jamie Shackleton.
We
We don't need to sign any midfielders. JB, Archie Gray,
Lewis
Jamie
Bate will be
Shackleton,
back.
Lewis Bate. And they were saying like
Plymouth away. Thank you to Liam.
the next step for Lewis Bates was going to be a loan to the Championship. You don't need to bother, he can just do it with us.
Continue playing under Carl Robinson as he was at the start of this
No,
season.
I mean-
no.
There's Matteo Joseph.
Mm.
He was probably in line for a championship. Joseph can go out over. I am just hanging out for a season of Eddie and the kids next year.
That's kind of how I've talked myself into it. I thought, it's not Mark Rocker. It's Archie Gray. Come on.
Don't we need some grizzled bastards down the spine of the team?
We definitely
Yeah.
do, but Luke Ayling's already been given a new contract, so he's staying. Coops has got a year to go anyway, and for his testimonial. Stuart Dallas back.
Yep,
That will be nice.
hopefully.
Maybe Fizzer Forshaw can have another year. So just stick with the people who let us down badly this year. And
Stuart Dallas is a saint. He does nothing this year.
Give them another
Our
chance.
player of the year.
Another chance at redemption to try and remember what they used to do when they were good. There's that weird talk, isn't there, that Tyler
Dan
Adams... Dan James will be back. He'll tear it. Yeah, he'll tear it up in the Championship. There's that weird talk that Tyler Adams might fancy it next year in the Championship because he feels like he owes us something. And, if he does, then fair play. Because I still have this sneaking suspicion that if he'd stayed fit, we might have got away with this.
Yeah.
Because midfield is where it all
It's
comes.
because have you seen the others?
Daniel Maroney is suggesting we get Eddie's kids in and play their kids.
Yep.
Oh, dear.
Just kids are punky. So, it's from that point of view, it's almost more interesting because there is that question of, how do you, and we've seen it with Cody Drammer, is how do you get a player from the under-21s into the first team? And apparently, so far you don't. So with some of those players that we kind of like, it might be nice to see how they do, and they could be enough to get us promoted, and then we'll spend a year in the Premier League getting relegated, and we'll hate all them.
Yeah.
The
And
cycle.
continue
of
the
football.
cycle, yeah. The circle of life, isn't it?
See how it goes. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. And I think that's maybe the biggest benefit of it being over is now we can just right now stuff actually does have to happen. But then if what is going to happen is just unsigned statements that don't say who is actually in charge. Anybody could. Maybe that'll be the whole theme of the summer. Maybe we'll sign a manager and loads of players, but never actually say who's running the show. Just keep that on the QT. It's a secret. It'll be like whoever Ken Bates was running it for might buy us back.
Just looking at 538.com, they've got us down at
100%.
100% as relegation. What a perfect way to sign off the match ball for this season. Let's wrap it up there then and go home and hope for a better season next season. And let's face it, next season start maybe not tomorrow because it's a bank holiday. Tuesday, we'll give them that, shall we?
We are 12 months away from a promotion party, and we can actually go to this one unless there's another worldwide pandemic.
Yeah, in fact, we are owed one.
Yep.
Aren't we? So
maybe this is it. We've got to go down to get one and come back up.
So happy promotion in 12 months' time. You heard it here first, yeah? We'll wrap it up there. We'll see you soon.
The Match Ball.